Good morning, everyone. Kimberly Robe Imachiapi Ma Sikaju Lokoto Yate. Lilan Petokin Washte, Shante Washte Nipechu Chapo. Good morning. My name is Kimberly Robe. I'm an enrolled member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, the Burnt Thigh people from Rosebud, South Dakota. I said today is a very good day, and I greet you all with a good Lakota heart. On behalf of the Planning Committee, we welcome you to the second annual American Indian Youth with Disabilities Summit. Really exciting this year that we have our two young MCs, Mateo Treetop from Papa Lakota and Anya Carrillo, who is also a member of the Hopi tribe with Senecan Lakota descent. So want to welcome you, and please make sure to share your thoughts, your ideas, your comments with the chat. And also don't forget to submit your evaluations, because your evaluations are very important in keeping this event viable and moving forward. So I'd like to introduce first relative Wayne Weston to conduct our morning blessing. Wayne is from Ogallala Lakota Nation. Pate Oyate. Thank you, Wayne.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Wayne Weston. My Lakota name is Situpi Jutanupa, which means the two swallowed split-tail swallows. And I'm very honored to be here with you this morning. This is a great event. I am from the Ocheti Shakoi Nation, the Seven Council Fires. My band is the Teton, and my sub-band is the Oglala Lakota from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. If you look in the background, my star quilt, this is our tribal flag. I greet you with a good handshake, and Lakota, I'll say, Chante washte nape chiusa fellow. I greet you with a good heart and a warm handshake. This morning, I want to say a prayer for all of our youth out there. You are our nephews and our nieces, our grandsons and granddaughters, all of you who are here today. We are Indigenous. We are one people of Turtle Island, and we are your elders coming here to share with you. And this conference, you are leaders within all of our nations, because you are going to show our other relatives, your relatives across Turtle Island, how to move forward in life. You may, as the white man calls disability, but you're going to learn the way we see it to help you to better your lives. And in return, all we ask for you to do is to help teach your peers these things who have a disability. And we're hoping that many of you are going to be educating other Indigenous relatives across Turtle Island to help you. So we're investing this time for all of you as future leaders. And we want to give you some good information to help you. To do this, I'm going to lead a prayer song and a prayer for each and every one of you and your families. And those of you who have survived COVID, this is also a prayer for you. And I know that we lost many relatives to this pandemic, and we're gonna do a ceremony at the end of this conference to help you through a wiping of tears. So I'm gonna start my prayer, my song, and then my prayer. Waka kanka koka heya che wanki elo hai. Waka kanka koka heya che wanki elo hai. Mita kuyeo wanikta cha koka heya che wanki elo hai. Uchi makata ka he koka he Nithon Kashila Ahetua Heonkelo Hai Chekiayo Chekiayo Hea Hitua Heonkelo Hai Untimaka Kankashila, Kadetopa, Nataku Akanshkanshka, Nataku Akankaka, Ampetu Kiwopila Kanka Ichicha, Nakele Wakanjaki, Naku Wonspecha, Kankashila, Oyate ki Damanikte, we chosen in Awoake Yakte. Grandfather and grandmother, today we ask that you bless us and bless our young people, our youth, our relatives, so that they can become strong and to help their people, that we will not use disability as a crutch no longer, that we will move forward and to become strong as a nation. I ask that you watch over our young people and help them and give them the courage and strength they're going to need to become strong and to become nations of strong people. Oh, Mitakwe, Oyase, we are all related.
Mitaki Oyachin, Unchimaka. Lamia, Uncle, for the beautiful blessing that you gave us this morning. I'm going to turn the rest of this program over to Anya and Mateo, and take it over, kids. It's on you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second annual American Indian Disability Summit. My name is Anya. I am 26 years old. I am from the Hopi Laguna Lakota tribe. I am registered in the Laguna tribe, and I'm really excited to be here with you all today. Mateo, if you want to introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Mateo Treetop. I am Hunkpapa Lakota from Fort Yates, North Dakota. I am 25 years old, and it's just nice to see everyone here.
It looks like we have a big crowd this morning, so that's really good. It's nice to see everyone. This morning I'm going to introduce Dr. Ali Joseph, and we're super excited to have you today this morning, Ali. We're excited to hear what you have to present. So Dr. Ali is from the Oklahoma Choctaw tribe, and she's joined the Applied Indigenous Studies Department at Northern Arizona University in 2013. Dr. Ali Joseph was appointed by the president of Northern Arizona University as the faculty athletes representative in fall 2015. She also serves on the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or the NCAA Minority for Opportunity and Interest Committee. Dr. Ali Joseph is a founding member of the Indigenous Athletics Advancement Council. So that's really awesome, Ali. We're so excited. Dr. Ali, we're so excited to have you. If you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself furthermore, and yeah, just get started.
Thank you, Anya and Mateo, for that beautiful introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here and share this space with you. Let me share my screen really quickly so we can get going. One second. All right. Halito Chemachukma. Saho Chifoya Alisse Ali Joseph Chatasia. So I just introduced myself in my Choctaw language. I said, good morning, everyone. My name is Alisse Ali Joseph. It's great to be in this space with you. I'm a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And as Anya stated, I'm a professor at Northern Arizona University in the Applied Indigenous Studies Department. I also serve as the faculty athletic representative there. So I work with student athletes at NAU as well. So I also want to share what I'm wearing this morning. So I have what I look like. I have long black hair. I have lighter to medium toned skin. I'm wearing some very beautiful purple beaded earrings. I have a black shirt with flowers on it that says "Res Girls Can Do Anything," my new favorite shirt. And most importantly, I'm wearing a huge smile because I'm here sharing this space with you all. So again, thank you for having me. You'll notice that the title of my presentation is Sustaining Ability, Strength, and Abundance. And I want you to notice that I use the title sustaining rather than creating. This means we have always been here in this space. We are meant to be here in this space, to be seen, to be heard, and to share our stories, our experiences in order to be better supported, represented, and to provide a beautiful, more inclusive space for future generations. So as I talk today, please know that we are meant to be here. You are meant to be here. I also want us to shift our thoughts and narrative away from things that limit us or hold us back, as what my uncle talked about earlier in his prayer. And let's shift and think about our abilities and the protective factors within our Indigenous communities that help us sustain our abilities. So for me, this was sport, this beautiful protective factor that has really provided me a path is through sport. And I want to provide a little bit of background of, again, who I am today and why I'm so passionate about utilizing these spaces of strength and ability for our youth, for you. These are pictures of my beautiful family who hold space for me and encourage me and push me to be better every single day. Sport offered me the ability to have a healthy mind, body, and spirit. I played tennis at UC Davis. So it offered me a free education. It got my foot in the door where I liked school, but I wasn't so passionate about school. But once I started college, I learned to love education. Then I went on to get my bachelor's, my master's degree, and then my PhD. And now I'm with you today as an Indigenous woman at an institution of higher education. And I have to go back to my sporting experience and the space that my ancestors provided me to be here today. So I wanted to share a little bit of my background and my family and the loves that support and hold space for me. So as I said, as an Indigenous woman, I am supposed to be here, sustaining this space. There's a quote that I love to share with young people and students that I pledge to use my access to help create someone else's entry. And this is so important to me because it acknowledges that I'm in this space because of the hard work, the sacrifices, and the love of my ancestors. And I know that's a theme today is acknowledging and honoring the hard work and the sacrifices and the love that our ancestors provided for us. So I did not get here alone. And I want you to know that you have people in your lives that will help you find your passion, your strengths, and your abilities. So always remember that you are meant to be here and you are not on this journey alone. So today I'll be sharing, my story and the story of our Indigenous peoples through the space of sport and physical activity. But I want us to think about what is your passion. So when I'm talking about sport, you could be thinking, oh, well, art, music, language, ceremony, math, science. So anything that brings you happiness, that you find joy in, and that you love to share with your family and community. So just keep that in mind as I'm talking today is, you could insert anything in lieu of sport today, anything that brings you happiness and passion. So as I talk today, I want us to think about the meaning of Nahongvita. And my husband comes from the Hopi community of Munkapi. And so we utilize this term a lot in our household, in our family, and in our community. And really, this is a strength-based word in Hopi. And the general meaning is self-empowerment. and taking control of our own lives, setting goals, and making positive choices. So basically, it means we have to understand our strengths and our weaknesses, and we have to believe in ourselves and our abilities. So the pictures on this slide, I love these pictures, embody our history, our beautiful and our abundant communities today, as well as the path for our future generations, right? And I think that's the theme that we'll be talking about throughout today is the path for our future generations. So the picture to the left is Louis Tawanama. He is a Hopi runner. He ran in the Olympics in the early 1900s, but I think more importantly, he used running and he ran hundreds of miles a week to tend to and care to his cornfields. So running within Hopi communities and a lot of our tradition and a lot of our communities, very important and powerful. And then the lower left picture is a picture of my daughter, Chula. She's 4 years old. She takes after her mama and loves to play tennis. And I believe she's going to be the first Native tennis world champion. That's in my heart. That's what I believe. And then the middle picture is a picture of Noah Hotchkiss. And he's a Native young man who founded the Tribal Adaptive Organization. And I'll be talking a lot about him today throughout this talk. He's a motivational speaker and a current student athlete at the University of Illinois. And then the lower right is Abby Rock, and she's the first Native woman to play hockey on the US Olympics team. So our abilities can be our cultural connectedness to community, like I said before, ceremony, prayer, language, our traditional responsibility, the connection we have to our land. And we see how important these connections are to our youth today who are experiencing disability and navigating today's world. So I want us to think about that today. And Nahongvita exemplifies resilience. It empowers us to utilize our own experiences and strengths. So I want us to think about that. So what empowers you? What is your Nahongvita? Please keep this in mind today as we go through our talk and throughout the rest of the day. So I want to talk a little bit about the term exercising sovereignty and the history about why sport is so important and why movement and why a lot of these things that we're so passionate about are so important within our Indigenous communities. Sport has always been this very vibrant and inclusive piece of American Indian communities and lifeways. For American Indian people, sport is inherently tied to community. Societies place high value on sport and competition as a means to honor our families, our communities, our deities, our spiritual ancestors. It's a process to instill discipline, hard work, knowledge, concentration. And we see this historically. Sports are tied to creation stories, emergence stories, and also some traumatic experiences with sport and boarding schools. And then we also see sport in contemporary educational settings today. Again, so I want us to think about and examine the importance of sport or whatever you're thinking about, like I said, art, music, language, land, history, as a form of what I term exercising sovereignty, right? The practice of our performance of our cultural, political, and spiritual citizenship, right? So as Native youth and as Native people, how are we moving forward? How are we utilizing this space to help our nations, to help our future generations? So in these pictures, you once again see how sport has created a space of representation, strength, and abundance within our Native communities. So the lower left, we see my dear friend, Mr. Billy Mills. This was in 1964 when he won the 10,000 meter gold medal in the Olympics. And he went on after this to start, it's called a nonprofit called Running Strong for Native American Youth. And it's a program that helps Native youth around the country. The next picture, we again see Noah Hotchkiss. As I said, we'll going back to him. He at the University of Illinois wheelchair basketball camp. And then we see a group of Native American basketball legends. So it's the picture is small, but this was a picture taken that I took last weekend at the Women's Final Four Basketball Championship in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there's about 20 phenomenal Native American basketball players in this picture. We have Rinaldi Vicente. She was the first Native American woman to play in the WNBA, so the Women's National Basketball Association. We just have some phenomenal athletes and role models here. So as I said before, sports is inherently tied to culture. We see this in running, as I mentioned before, the importance of tending to cornfields, the importance of keeping us strong and healthy. And then we also see how some sports have emerged within our Native communities, the importance of basketball, football, track and field, adaptive sports, where we implement, we're able to assert our identities, create agency, and form community in spaces where historically we have not been able to come in and be seen and share space and create space. So today in college, in the professional and in the adaptive athletics, Native American athletes are paving the way for future generations to use their sport to earn an education, to reconnect to community, and really to maintain a healthy lifestyle. But unfortunately, talking a little bit about the negative thing, we don't see a lot of Native athletes in college. We don't see a lot of Native athletes, adaptive sport athletes in the public eye and the mainstream eye. And so we need to change that, right? We need to sustain these spaces in order to change that. So it is the strength through kinship and relationship, and empowers Indigenous athletes to give back to our communities, right? To use the strength of our ancestors to give back to community. So I really want to share a beautiful example of this, and example of how adaptive sport and sports for Native peoples who are experiencing disability provides a space for empowerment, ability, and is an example of exercising our sovereignty. And as you see here, my little 4-year-old daughter that you saw in the picture has joined me. So in 2015, Noah Hotchkiss founded the Tribal Adaptive Organization with the simple mission of using sport as a tool to improve the health and wellness of Native Americans with disabilities. Sorry, everybody. And so since this time, he's been raising funding for equipment and to provide wheelchair basketball camps on reservations through the Southwest. Noah himself was paralyzed from the waist down in an automobile accident in 2009 at the age of 11. And prior to this, he was an incredible athlete, loved sports. And so he's very fortunate to find the adaptive sport community quickly after his accident. This gave him focus and a community of people that helped him cope with overcoming, experiencing his disability. And he went on to become a national champion skier and wheelchair basketball player. But most importantly, right, Noah has become a voice for Native Americans who are experiencing disability. He's sustaining this space for us. He quickly realized there are not any adaptive sports program within Indian country, and the quality of life and access to medical care was very poor. So with the help of people like Billy Mills, who I mentioned, who founded the Running Strong for Native American youth and other organizations, he founded the adaptive sport program, and it's thriving today. From his own experience, it was his first wheelchair basketball team that really turned the tides for him. And as you can see in the picture to the left, this is the Tribal Adaptive Sports Chair Basketball Club. And so the vision was to create a weekly program in Farmington, New Mexico that would provide access to athletes for Native Americans experiencing disabilities, and use sport as a tool to increase educational and occupational opportunities. They compete nationally at their high school wheelchair basketball teams and really put in the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears to become incredible athletes and student athletes. So, you know, the long-term goal is to have access to athletics for Native Americans experiencing disability within Native communities. And I want us to think about this journey, you know, started for Noah with a very tragic accident, right? And he thought he would never be able to be in these spaces of sport and participate in things that he loved, but he decided to find that ability and that strength, and he's doing that for himself and hundreds and hundreds of other Native youth. So it's just a really beautiful story that I really hope that you can think about, and again focus on the ability and overcoming, as Wayne mentioned earlier today. So the next slide. So this is a picture of a hoop dancer. And I know later in the program today, it looks like we're going to have a hoop dancer workshop or presentation, which that's going to be awesome. So we see the image of this hoop dancer representing these protective factors and for our Indigenous community. So protective factors can generally be defined as an individual or a community attributes, right? So not a deficit, but an attribute that help to lessen the impact of some stressors that would cause harm to individuals or community well-being. And so let's look at these protective factors that we see within our Indigenous community. And again, I want us to think about moving away from the inability, right, within our communities to how community strength, abundance, resilience, and relationality, right, are spaces of strength and ability. So looking first to community. As I mentioned before, Indigenous sport is a way of life. We see this in traditional sports such as running, stickball, and lacrosse. And this is a picture of young Choctaw youth playing playing stickball in our Choctaw community. The picture to your right is a group of young Native basketball players at the Native American Basketball Invitational, also known as NABI. Basketball fosters pride, motivation for our youth. It elicits a sense of cultural poise within our people. And so the love of sport has really become an identity piece for a lot of communities. And I want to hone into here, of course, we're talking also about adaptive sports and sports for those experienced disabilities, an example what Noah shared as well. The next is strength. Sorry. The next is strength. So Indigenous community finds strength in kinship. So as the theme for today, right, is utilizing the strengths of our ancestors to create space, to sustain space. And so family connectedness is a key value for our Indigenous communities, right? And so the picture to the left is a picture of Hopi men preparing for a communal race. This picture was taken in the early 1900s. And then on the right, you'll see a jingle dress dancer. This is in 2021. These two pictures really show that sports transcends across generation, has been so important for sustaining space through our generations. The next is abundance. So Indigenous communities are abundant communities, right? We have always been here. We are meant to be here. We are always going to be here. And really this abundance is shown through our necessity and our wanting to give back to our community to pave the way for our future generations. So along with giving back, right, Indigenous peoples and these athletes that are pictured here, which I'll talk a little bit about, are change agents, inspiring their communities and other athletes and other youth to pursue their dreams and their passions. I go back, of course, to Noah as an example. So in late 2021, his tribal adaptive organization, along with a couple of other organizations, partnered together to announce a new scholarship award for student athletes who are experiencing disability. So it's called the Tribal Adaptive Student Athlete of the Year Award. And so this recognizes a top male and a top female student athlete who is experiencing a physical disability. So again, it acknowledges the hard work, perseverance, overcoming obstacles, both in education and in their athletic field. So then now I want to talk a little bit about these two recipients because they're just so amazing. So the inaugural female student athlete is Alisse Guerrero, and she's from the Yakima Nation. She's now a freshman in college at the University of Illinois on the wheelchair basketball team there. She has a full ride scholarship. So growing up, she was really inspired by prosthetics and who made her artificial legs when she was growing up. And so she has decided she wants to enter into that field. So she chose a major in biology at the University of Illinois. And then the male recipient on the right, you can see Caden Baxter. He's a member of the Potawatomi tribe. And he suffered a spinal cord injury at the age of 15 in an ATV crash, leaving him partially paralyzed from the waist down. And so, you know, he's now a student athlete in Michigan and majoring in computer science and the member of the school's wheelchair tennis team. So you can see the abundance in these stories of our youth not only sustaining these places, giving back to their community, but them being role models for future generations. And the last is resilience. So there's a quote that I really like. It says, sports transcends across generations. And so I think we can put different things in there, right? Culture transcends across generations, language transcends, music transcends, dance transcends across generations. And it's really alluding to what I talked about before. I did not get here alone, right? We did not get in these spaces alone. We learned, we were nurtured and cared for by our elders and our traditional knowledge holders. And so these are two pictures that really embody that for me. On the left, we see, again, I was at the NCAA Women's Final Four last weekend in Minneapolis, Minnesota. For the first time ever, our Indigenous people were represented there. At the halftime of the championship game, the drum group Midnight Express came out and sang, and you can see the beautiful dancers around them. So for the first time ever, Native people were represented in this space. And it was incredibly, incredibly beautiful. And then on the right picture is a picture of my oldest daughter, Homa. She takes after her mama as well. And she is playing tennis. And I want you to notice, it's kind of hard to tell. I just really like this picture because she's wearing an orange shirt and showing representation for every child matters. And she's also wearing a mask. And she's wearing this because of the continual threat of COVID that has brought to our Native communities. So she's not only sustaining space, but she's also acknowledging the importance of health and healing for Indigenous communities. Excuse me, let me take a quick cup of coffee. So these 5 protective factors, right, that the hoop dancer was alluding to, really sustain spaces for ability, for you, for our Native youth and communities that you are coming from and going back into. So representation matters. What does this mean? So I've talked a lot about these beautiful spaces of sport, right? And again, we can put in language, math, art, music into what I'm talking about, sport. But unfortunately, as I said before, we don't see these protective factors highlighted for Native people in the public eye, or the opportunities readily available for Indigenous youth and communities. This is why representation matters. So again, I want to share an experience that I recently had last weekend. As I said, I attended the women's Final Four basketball game championship in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is home to 11 beautiful tribal nations. And I attended with a group that I started. It's called the Indigenous Athletics Advancement Council. And Anya graciously introduced our organization in my introduction. And so our mission is really to educate, promote, empower, and activate Indigenous peoples and communities through movement. And so it not only aims to educate around the abundance of sport, but it more importantly aims to create a space or sustain a space for Indigenous youth to feel seen, heard, and empowered. During all 3 games, we provided 400 tickets for Native youth to attend the basketball games. For some of these youth, it was their first time leaving the reservation and going off the reservation. And this is so important because as you see the picture to the left, you can see this little young dancer on center court, and he's looking up at himself on the Jumbotron. And I want us to keep in mind, this stadium is huge. It's filled with thousands and thousands of people. So I took this picture and I immediately started to cry. And I hope I'm not going to cry now because I might. I imagine this little boy looking up at himself in awe, right? He's dancing in a crowd of thousands, representing his family, his community, his culture, and the strong and abundant abilities of Native peoples. This is something that has never been done before. Unfortunately, it never has been done before. But it will be done again. I know it will be done again because of all you amazing youth out there who are sustaining these spaces for your people. The picture on the right is at the Native Youth Basketball Camp that we put on with a wonderful organization called Hoop Medicine. And then again with some Native American basketball legends like Rinaldi Vicente, Jude Schimmel, Dakota Beatty, so all these amazing female athletes. So now I want to share a quick video that was played before the basketball game. And the video was seen again by thousands in attendance, and the video is welcoming the attendees, and it's from the 11 beautiful tribal communities in Minnesota. So when you watch this, I want you to think about representation and the acknowledgement that we are meant to be here. We are here. We are still here. So I'm going to show that now, and hopefully it will work and everyone can hear it.
Kayaya hipi, Minnesota Makoche Kinyankapi Haywashte, Tintawinta Oyate Kinkayapi. It's good to have all of you here in Minnesota. The Prairie Island Indian community welcomes you.
Native athletics are far more than just a game. They connect us to our ancestors who used athletics to test strength, sharpen their survival skills, and reinforce collectiveness and group cooperation, what we now call teamwork.
Basketball is good medicine. It is good for our spirits.
It is good for our bodies, and it is good for our communities.
There's so much talent in Indian country, but there are not many Native Americans playing in the NCAA.
Native people make up less than 1% of NCAA student athletes.
And because fewer Native athletes have gone on to college sports, it means there are fewer athletes for our kids to look up to. Increasing access to college sports and scholarship opportunities will help close the achievement gap that exists.
We have some really good Native athletes who can play at the next level, can play in the NCAA, but are just not getting recognized.
And that can be from coming from a place of poverty and or oppression. Also, many kids just don't know what it takes to get there or how to do so.
We are often overlooked and underconsidered due to where we live, geography, lack of access, lack of opportunities, and exposure to be able to compete at just a higher level consistently.
There's also a stigma that Indigenous athletes lack the fundamentals or the structure to be successful.
There are thousands of talented Native kids just waiting on the opportunity to play college basketball, and the stories of how they made it there will always be something special.
Just growing up and being around the sport has definitely helped shape me into who I am today, and also given me lots of opportunities to meet new people, learn how to fail, learn how to be successful, and how to handle both of those.
To just keep putting one foot in front of the other and making it work, no matter what. I did it for this next generation or the generations after me so that they can see that it's doable.
Sports has been used as a ticket. I know I use it as a ticket for myself to get off the reservation, to get my education, to go travel, to meet new people.
And if basketball is going to be our ticket to leave the reservation, then that's what we want to do.
Minnesota shares land with 11 sovereign tribal nations, 7 Ojibwe and 4 Dakota. And here in Minneapolis, you are in the heart of one of the most robust urban Native communities in the country.
We are still here. We are not just some character from the past you see in your history books. We are vibrant, thriving communities. We have a special connection to this land, the land of our ancestors.
Our athletes are warriors.
Above all, we are strong.
We have the blood of our mothers,
our grandmothers,
and our ancestors.
And we got next.
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 So we got next, everybody, right? You got next. Again, sustaining this space has never been done before. So it's so important, this representation. And I love this video because it alludes to the positiveness and abilities, but it also talks about some of the circumstances within our communities. It talks about basketball as good medicine, and I really like that. So I want you to think about what's your good medicine, what's your Nahongvita, what supports you, what encourages you, what motivates you. So I want to share again another example of Noah, and someone just put in the chat that yes, Noah received the award for 40 under 40 this past year. He's just such an amazing young man. So this is a picture of the 2016 Champion of Change. So champions are young Indigenous leaders from across the US who are leading impactful initiatives that seek to improve our tribal and urban communities. And so Noah was one of the recipients. And he's certainly leading to positive change, inspiring positive outcomes for our Indigenous youth. And so I really love the quote here. And there's quite a long video that I can't share, but there is a link, and I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with everyone. There's a link if y'all want to watch the video, but he says, "I'm not seeing barriers I can't get over anymore, but I'm seeing barriers I can overcome. Now I'm always up for the challenge." And so I think this is a really beautiful quote, because he is talking about barriers. Of course, we all have barriers and challenges, right, that that we deal with in life. But we can choose to let them keep us back, or we can choose to overcome them and grow from them. And so I think that's a really beautiful quote that Noah shared. So again, sport is a vehicle for empowerment. We can use the same as art, music, ceremony, etc. And I want to show another video, a beautiful video that expresses, again, sport as empowerment. And it's about a young boy, Draven Moses, who was able to attend one of the nation's premier wheelchair basketball camp at the University of Illinois, of course, because of Noah's hard work and dedication to adaptive athletics. So I'm hoping this is going to work.
I'm Draven Isaac Moses. I'm 14 years old and I'm coming out of Sheet Springs, New Mexico because I have a condition, spinal bifida.
Just talk a little bit about, your experience coming to University of Illinois for the wheelchair basketball camp.
It's amazing. Beautiful sights, meeting kids from all over. New moves for basketball, follow through, dribbling right, pushing down the court. Get to try out new things every day.
I'm thankful that he got to experience this. As being a parent and to observe Draven's disability is a challenge ever since he started school.
It's tough for him on the race with in a wheelchair. There's no sports out there for him.
Seeing that is pretty tough. The res is known for playing basketball and running around, just more being athletes. So with Draven's situation, it was pretty hard. There's no accommodations, there's really no support, and just seeing how athletic this program is, it's nice.
This place is big. Big opportunities for him also. This camp, to me, it seems like it's going to make him stronger and prepare him even more for the future. So to be a role model himself.
Most exciting game I had was when we went 4-0, but we were up 1 point at the final. The dorms are good. It's the first time I've been here. Just taking care of my laundry, my hygiene, showering by myself without any help. It's actually good for me to be away from this. I can gain responsibilities by myself. Amazing to see this experience for myself. See myself playing college basketball. Just work hard, my basketball drills, get good grades, getting all my credits good, staying focused on work and relationships. Thank you, Billy, for giving us this opportunity to try out new things, nothing to forget about. And also Noah Hotchkiss, you're amazing. You taught me how to play basketball.
I get goosebumps and chills and tears every time I watch Draven. And as his parents alluded to, saying this is a big opportunity, it's going to make him stronger and it's going to make him a role model. And I think that's so incredibly telling, that the experiences we're having, the experiences that maybe we have to overcome, are sustaining these spaces for future generations. And so I want to say a huge yakoke. Thank you for being engaged and sharing this space with me. I end with 3 pictures of amazing Native athletes and the spaces they're sustaining for future generations for you. Today, we have seen many beautiful stories from Native spaces and our histories that talk about our young people becoming warriors and expressing ability and abundance. Youth well-being determines the health of the next generation and can help predict future public health challenges for families and communities, as well as sustain spaces of strength. These youth, you are promoting unconditional acceptance through health and social justice, such as awareness raising and advocating for yourselves and your communities. We see you honoring your ancestors' strength through advocacy, culture, and identity. So these are stories of resilience. These are your stories. These are stories of sustaining space. These are stories that tell us we have always been here and we still belong here. You belong here. So I ask you once again, what is your Nahongvita? Thank you very much, everyone. Yokoke.